Well, welcome everyone. We'll get started here in just a minute while we're waiting for a few more people to get into the room. If you want to put your information up in the chat, and many of us have done that so far. And then if this is your first time here to the Mastermind Referral Group, if you would include, and you can send it privately if you would like, if you'd include your email address to me, you can just do the drop down on everyone in the chat and then pick my name, give me your email, or if you're happy with publishing it out there, you can do that too. But once a week, I send a newsletter out that just talks about who the presenter is, who the speaker is that week, and just a little information. So I promise we never spam you. In fact, you're real lucky to get it the night before. Sometimes it's the morning of. I'm hurrying to rush and get. Oh my goodness, I forgot to put out the newsletter to share who's speaking to us today. So yeah, I promise I won't spam that. But yeah, we Bob and I put this little group together about a year ago now. We started here in Arizona to help small businesses, and then it's expanded and grown way beyond that, and have our international presence. It's always great to see Patrick here from over in Ireland. We have folks that come from Mexico City and Portugal and a few other places that are crazy times of the day, or sometimes they're even tomorrow when they join us. But we put this together really just to kind of get together and refer business to each other. And I've always kind of been a firm believer of getting people connected, and I've loved doing that. So follow a principle that I learned over 30 years ago in sales from Zig Ziglar, that you'll get everything you want out of life if you help enough other people get what they want. And more recently, Tony Robbins, talks about the secret of living is giving, which is really fun because our speaker today is actually, interviewed Tony and knows him personally. So that'd be fun to hear from Mike here in just a minute. But it's not a requirement to give referrals. It's just once we get to know each other better, then it's always great to share with one another someone that may be a good fit for them. And that's kind of the reason why we have people present, is so we can get to know them better. When you do these breakout networking groups, you really don't learn that much from each other in 2 minutes. But when you have somebody present to the group, then you really get to better understand what it is that they can provide and what's a good referral for them. So excited to turn the time over here to Mike Hayes. I've been working on a project with Mike for a few weeks now that is about to go live. I'm pretty excited about that. And if you would like to be a presenter, we welcome that. We're booked up until towards the end of January in the new year. But January 25th is open. February 1st, February 8th are still open dates if you would like to present to the group. And then I think Michelle, was it your brilliant idea to do a pitch day? Was that came from you, right?
Yeah, it was my brilliant idea. I'll take full credit for that.
Perfect. So
But it wasn't a pitch. It was the elevator pitch. It was
yeah,
specifically that. Yeah. Thank
correct.
you.
Yeah. So on the 11th, come prepared to get feedback on your elevator pitch. And so yeah, the 11th, January 11th will be the date that we've scheduled to come and kind of give your 30-second to a minute. This is what you do, and then we'll get feedback from everyone on what resonated and what you might change up on that pitch, because a lot of us do attend these networking events, and Mike may even talk about speed networking today, because that's something he's very involved in, and it's getting tremendous traction. And some of those events have well over 100 people on them, right, Mike?
Yeah, 150.
Yeah, so that's really fun. But yeah, great to see everybody here. Welcome back, Martin. Haven't seen you in a while, and you're a busy man, so glad that you could be here today.
Glad to be here. Thanks, Brett.
Yeah, so if you haven't done a one-on-one with Martin, this guy is connected. He knows a lot about business and knows a lot of people. So book some time with him to get to learn what his connections are and how he can help you. A fabulous member of our group here. But well, without any further ado, Mike, you should have the ability to share your screen with us, and we look forward to your presentation.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody. So my background is news, and that really came in handy today because I have been attending my daughter's college graduation at ASU, and she had her first interview the day after and a follow-up one already. So it's been a little family craziness. So I just produced this morning. So if there's any typos, or I hope you will forgive me. So let me get right to it. And I'm going to try to make it full screen. I hope I can do that. Yeah. So this is a little bit about me on the right here. And I'm going to be talking about AI Publicity Express. And I've got some pretty big news that I'm very excited about. We're going to be launching not only speed networking leads events, and we're going to show how we can promote you before, during, and after our events. And we're launching podcast listening, School of Business Networking Follow-Up Success. So we'll be talking about that as well. And so let me get right to it. Breck and I and others are launching an event along with AI Publicity Express, using my background as a documentary director with NBC TV and radio networks in New York. And we are launching officially on Tuesday, January 2nd, but we also have a follow-up Speed Network event on Wednesday, January 3rd. So I'll be talking more about that as well. And I want to explain what AI Publicity Express means. Now, I've had Oprah Winfrey and Tony Robbins and Bob Proctor and just hundreds of the most financially successful and media savvy media superstars. And now with AI and everything in the new economy, we're really launching the media future stars. And we're really looking for people that really want to be peak performers in this kind of new normal of social media and AI and how that all works, especially with everybody talks about speed networking and how great it is. But I've learned from putting on big speed networking events and polling literally thousands of business networkers that only about 1% ever follow up. And yet that is the key to success of business networking, is the follow-up. So that's what we're really going to tackle today, and with podcast listening and what that's all about. Now, what we're doing differently is in our event registration form, even before the event, we're going to send off a form, and that will ask for your contact information, plus your LinkedIn profile, your Alignable profile, your Meetup profile, and your podcast profile, if you have one like a YouTube channel. So we do have some what I call AI audibles, breaking news. Now, what does that mean? Well, in sports, an audible is when either a coach or a quarterback, let's say, sees something happening and calls an audible. Things have changed. It's time to call an audible. We've got to change our plan. So that's what AI audibles is all about. That's part of our podcast series, and we do have some breaking news. Now, the breaking news that I'm totally excited about, I've just connected my podcast listening podcasts with the School of Business of Oxford University in the UK. And if they are not #1 in the world for their school of business, they're very close. So the dean of the Oxford Business School actually received his PhD in artificial intelligence 30 years ago. 30 years ago from Cal Berkeley. That's just amazing. Now, he believes that as far as networking and AI today, that we have now hit Moore's law and the tipping point for exponential sales growth or exponential growth of AI, that it is just exploding at a meteoric rate. And so if you believe in it or not, get ready for it. So we are focusing my podcast listening podcast on AI education for social media and business networking in particular. Now, there's a brand new book out I just saw last night, as a matter of fact, on the Daily Show. And it is by Mike Massimino, an astronaut. And he talks about the NASA astronaut's guide to achieving the impossible. Well, in that peak performer spirit, and certainly a NASA astronaut is a peak performer, in that spirit, our podcast listening is designed to be a guide to achieving the impossible with AI. So in other words, we are not small thinkers, okay? We're looking big, huge. So AI Audibles, news, reviews, and interviews will share our AI moonshot vision. Now, podcast listening will be a guide to getting the right people to listen to the right podcasts. Podcast listening, for your point of view, will be a guide to getting the right people for you to listen to your podcast on social media or wherever you want to post it. So that's part of the follow-up, is using a podcast, even if it's a one-time podcast, an evergreen podcast. We're going to teach you how to use it for business networking follow-up. Now, business networkers should understand that podcast listening will contain AI audibles that are for everyone, because we don't care if you believe that you will never use AI. You may be surprised by AI because AI is coming. So we want you to be prepared to understand where are the opportunities that are disappearing and where are the opportunities that are rising in this new economy. So change is coming to the world economies, and it's going to bring both, as the dean says, quicksand, where things will disappear because of AI, but also new opportunities for peak performers who embrace change. Now, my experience with business networking and AI is that with AI and digging a deeper dive into it, you can learn to always know the exact right thing to say and always know the exact right thing to do with your follow-up. AI is an advice invention, and it's designed to help people. I believe that AI is the cure for business networking follow-up procrastination. In other words, we all have reasons, resistance, things we can think of to do instead of following up, or maybe we're fearful. Believe me, only 1 in 100 from my polling actually follow up. AI takes the fear out of follow-up. So that's what we're focusing on for this presentation, is business networking follow-up demonstrations. Well, you can't really demonstrate true follow-up unless you actually follow up. And so that's what I will be doing after this event. Now, by subscribing to AI Audibles, you will learn more from the Oxford Dean, Oxford professors, and I've already interviewed a professor and student in their MBA candidates, and we're setting up more interviews to come very shortly with AI and networking follow-up. So my job is to help people get whatever they need and want out of speed networking leads. So right here, we're in a networking event. We end up with speed networking leads. So we're going to be using the podcast listening school of business networking follow-up success to help people to really understand how AI can help them to have confidence in knowing what to say, have confidence in knowing what to do, and really digging deeper into AI. So we are launching our new speed networking leads events, and we're using AI Publicity Express, and that will be focused on Tuesday, January 2nd. We want to promote your attendance. And I want to explain that AI Publicity Express means that in the form, we're going to be asking you if you're interested in really promoting yourself for your contact information, your LinkedIn profile, your alignable profile, your meetup, if you put on meetup events, your podcast profile, if you have one. So if you're interested, you'll be contacted by me with a follow-up email from me. I'm Mike Hayes, and it'll come from AI Audibles. And now I'm happy to answer any of your questions. So I'll stop sharing to take any questions.
Mike, well done. That's really interesting. What does alignable mean? I mean,
oh, good question, Patrick.
How am I aligned with you or Brett or Armin or whoever? How we talk the same language, but how are we aligned?
Okay, it's a great question. Alignable, I'm sorry. Alignable is like a local meetup, or no, local LinkedIn. So Alignable is a company. You can sign up for an Alignable account for free. You go to alignable.com and it's 100% free. So, and there is a great strategy for reaching out on Alignable and speed networking, and speed networking follow-up. So it's one of my A choices, along with LinkedIn and Meetup, Eventbrite, and really any social media way to make connections and to help follow up with social media communication. So but Alignable is a good choice, and it is free.
Jamar.
Just a point of clarification. It may not be available in the UK yet. I had another person that I did a call with who said that that was not available to them and where they were at. So just you have to check and see if it is available outside of the United States. My question is, what it's great to hear this whole program, and likewise the people that you're going to be interviewing. Is there are you looking for recommendations for other people to interview, or how will that process work in your podcasts listening as far as people?
Yeah. Thank you. That's a great question as well. And thank you for that clarification about Alignable as well.
Hold on. Alignable is available in Ireland anyway. So I don't know about the UK, probably is, but there you go. Grow your network, grow your business, join the network platform trusted by 8 million business owners. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, not at all. So now to answer both questions, what it really is going to be, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Angie's List. And I was thinking, how can I create an Angie's List for the really good speed networking events, the ones that are worth our time? In fact, Daniel asked when he first came on, is this a really good event? Because he was new to it, and our time is the most valuable thing we have. So wisely he asked. And I assured him that, this was a great event for referrals and for business networking. So what we really want to do, Damar, is yes, we want to, I created the speed networking calendar of calendars. And I will give you the link to it. And we are putting the best events on our calendar of calendars. And we are putting podcasts on certain days. We will have evergreen podcasts, on maybe Monday to talk about what Damar does, and on Tuesday to talk about what Patrick does, to promote your podcast on an evergreen way, or what are also called Loom meetings. These are asynchronous networking meetings. This is a synchronous networking meeting. We set a calendar time, we all agreed to meet here, and we showed up at the right place at the right time. But I'm promoting asynchronous networking, where you don't have to appear in the right place at the right time. You can know where the calendar of calendars are, and when the day is right for you to learn more about Richard Torrell and his program, then you'll be able to go to the calendar of calendars and click on the interview that I did with Richard about his program. So you don't have to connect at the exact same time with either me or Richard. It is an affiliate program. So if you click on the interview and my link, then Richard will be notified that I am the one that referred you to Richard. So I really, to monetize it, because my background is media and also TV infomercials, I love to work with people that do have an affiliate program like Richard does. But if you don't have an affiliate program like Richard does, we want to grow the events, and we want to grow attendance. And if you don't bring in new people, networking events tend to dwindle and they disappear. People want to meet new people. So we are focused on that, and we are actually have a way to monetize helping us to grow the meetings as an affiliate. So you can work with me as a partner. And I've known in the direct response industry as the network king. That was I wrote for the magazine of the industry. That's what they dubbed me. And I didn't know everything, but I knew everybody. And that's what I really made my focus about. But we've got to reach out. We've got to grow our groups. We've got to have new connections, and we've got to follow up. And with speed networking and podcast listening. So what we want to do is we want to get people to listen to, like the podcast I did with Richard, for example, okay? We want to focus on getting more leads and more follow-up, because that's where you learn more about people, you get them to attend your event. Now, I'm going to be teaching on the calendar of calendars exactly how to use Alignable as example, and LinkedIn. We have strategies for both, and Meetup and Eventbrite, to use this networking event. One thing people who attend networking events have in common, you know what it is? Everybody has in common an interest in networking. So when you invite people to a networking event, and you can assure people like Daniel, this is a great event, my friend, you should absolutely come. Then you come and they go, oh, that was really cool of Mike to invite me to this event. I appreciate that. We've already started to build an affinity, and we get to know each other. So this is what the strategy is. This is what the plan is. This is what we're working together with Breck on. And the other thing we're working on is a health group. So right after the event on Tuesday, January 2nd at noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern, we're going to introduce that we are having an introduction to our health group with Breck and Tim Daniels and other people that we're going to be organizing together with. So we can bring them together because of speed networking and leads, and then we can point out the health group. On Wednesday, we're going to have a speed networking event, and I'm going to point out the calendar of calendars. And I'll point out that Richard is focused on this day and somebody else might be on that day. So we're going to show people the calendar of calendars, so you'll always know where to go for live events and pre-recorded webinars or infomercials, basically, if you want. for what you have to offer. So we want to focus on helping people monetize business networking with follow-up rather than just getting leads.
Okay. Wow, that's great. So in essence, if you've done the podcast, you could use that as a tool. Like, for example, if I have a person that I'm following up with, and they said, I'd like to get more information about what you do, Devon. You can then point them to your podcast and say, hey, I did this podcast on podcast listening, and here's the link for that.
Yeah, and I'm recommended by podcast listening. So, after I do the interview, and just to give you a little background, guys, I never interview anybody unless I think it will do them some good. So you have no fear of being interviewed by me. I'm very good at interviewing people. I understand sales. I understand marketing. I don't know if you know, I won 2 Peabody Awards as a documentarian, interviewer, and researcher for NBC News in New York. But that doesn't mean I'm too big for my britches. I am looking for the next future stars of networking and media. And I love interviewing people. To me, people are like onions. I peel back layers and get down to their hero's journey of why they are so passionate about what they are doing. And I was able to take one client who was a self-described miserable failure. Mike, can you help me? I looked at how he was describing his offer, and I could see he was minimizing the value of it instead of optimizing the value of it. And by changing his presentation, not the product, we took the exact same product after he spent $100,000 and had 0 sales. We took that product to $200 million in sales just by changing the presentation about the value of the product, the value comparison of the product. That's the power of value comparison marketing.
Great. Thank you.
Other questions for Mike?
Mike, how many bedrooms do you have? Spare bedrooms? Because we all might have to move in with you.
Yeah, well, that's fine. You can give. Okay. I'll tell you guys. I have been practicing the law of attraction for 30 years. Bob Proctor was my mentor. I have an estate in Lafayette, California. It's a $3 million estate. That was then, this is now. This is a whole new ball game, okay? I built a TV studio on the property. So what I really want to do is I want to hold retreats there, one day. I'm not ready to do that yet, but yeah, Moshe. Oh, you're muted.
Quick point. People who are my age or a little older will remember this, but years ago there was a company that advertised on TV. It was called Champion Mortgage, and it said, when your bank says no, Champion says yes. And that changed them from being one of many hard lenders on firms, or second hard, what they call equity lenders on firms, to being a national. It became equivalent to the same as saying, I want a Kleenex instead of I want a tissue. So I'm just confirming exactly what you were espousing earlier.
Yeah, it's a whole new ball game, guys. I look at myself as semi-retired and in my second adulthood, and really starting a whole new ball game with AI. So I'm like a kid out of college. That's my attitude. And I'm having fun. I love AI. I love what the potential is. I fully understand the dangers of it and the fears of it. But I do think good-minded people like ourselves have to embrace AI, to learn it, to study it, to see the dangers, and to point it out to our legislators and to all of the stakeholders in AI. So we've got to be able to keep it safe and ethical. So that's why I'm working with the best, I think, in the world with AI about their thinking and their research, which is profound.
Other questions? I've got a question for the group. Armand, why don't you go first? Because you're going to be more on point than mine.
Okay. So that sounds very exciting. So like, is there certain fee structures involved, or how does it normally work as
Yeah.
far as you just you opt into the website and start putting information in, or
Yeah, to start, it's free. So there's going to be a free
that sounds
version.
good.
Free is good, right? In this economy, we like that. I get it too. I get it too, 100%. What's really fun for me? Now I use my media background to really be a peak performer in podcasting, and I really wanted to be able to get my program down to what I could do in one single day, every day, and maximize my performance and being able to create content every single day. And I'll be honest with you, I've tried to get it down to one day, and I really have not succeeded. But by working on that so hard for so long, I have gotten it down to 2 days. But if you think about it, that resulted in, think about being able to do it in 1 week. After 2 days worth of work over a week. If your podcast, like Mel Robbins has the #5 podcast in the world, and she only podcasts once a week. So if you can use what I have learned, starting for free, and then if you want to be a peak performer, what I want to do is I want to teach people what being a peak performer is. Sports Illustrated wrote me up as being one of the most impactful interviewers on the planet, because I've interviewed not only the world's peak performers in athletics, but at the peak of their career, at the World Series, at the Kentucky Derby, at the Indianapolis 500, at the World Series, the Super Bowl. That's when I interviewed them. At the Masters in Augusta, that's when I interviewed them at the very peak. So I know what being a peak performer is. I know what it takes. Now, if you want to be a weekend golfer, that's fine. But I'd like you to know what it's like to be a peak performer. That's important, and take your networking up to the level of being a peak performer. So I love being around peak performers. I've been around peak performer broadcasters. I adore them. They're not normal people. They aren't. They are special. They're artists. There's something special about them. And Breck and I are going to be interviewing peak performers so that we can share what's it like to be able to make it into the NBA. What's that like? What's that take? How are you continuing that spirit in what you are doing today with your current project, whatever it is, helping people? And that's what we really want to bring to the table, so people can decide, nah, that's not for me. I'm semi-retired. I don't care that much, I don't want to put that kind of investment in. Other people will go, that's my passion. That's who I want to be. I want to take the game. I want to challenge myself. It's me against the world. And it's how I've had plenty of losses in my life, trust me. And it's not about what you've lost. It's about how you can be a peak performer with what you still have, how you can make the most out of what you still have, no matter what has happened, no matter what your hero's journey is. How can you do the best you can do in every aspect, from physical, mental, spiritual, and monetary? That's what I want to do. Is I want to help people to be a peak performer in those pillars of life. And AI and media is as broad as life. That's why we're focusing with Breck on your health.
Yeah,
Thank
sounds
you,
really
Mike.
good to me. So.
Appreciate your presentation today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who else is using AI daily, even if it's just to make a post or something like that? Yeah. So I can tell you, I've become a lot more intelligent in my comments on social media by feeding it through, either chat or Claude. Mike introduced me to Claude. What's so cool about the Claude AI platform is there's a lot of information out there that I need to consume, and I just don't have time to digest it all. So I can take a white paper or, information on a new clinical trial and attach that to, because I can take the PDF and actually just attach it to Claude and ask it to put it in bullet points. What are the key points? Put those in bullet points for me, and I can take a 10-page white paper and condense it down to, the 10 points of that study. So it's such a huge time saver for me. Other experiences? How are you using it, Damar?
Very similarly. So there's a program, I'm on the Mac platform. There's a program called Elephas, and it allows you to create a brain, for example, of information. So like, for example, let's say on wound care. And so there may be studies out there, and let's say someone asks you a question about wound care or Ozempic, for weight loss. You can pull up that brain, and when they ask the question, you can ask the question of the brain, and it will give you an intelligent response based on not only what's in AI, but also the PDFs or that you've put in there, or videos that you've put in there. So it really does make you a lot smarter.
Is that a subscription or is that free?
Well, it's part of a subscription that I'm part of on. It's called SetApp, and what it is it's a group of programs. Before I used to go down the rabbit hole of having a bunch of different apps, trying them out. And this one, I just pay one fee, and those apps are available, and I can pick and choose which ones that I do. And I want to say it's $19, but they have like 5 different AI apps that are available.
Is
part
it
of
in
SetApp.
different languages, Damar?
Yes. Yeah, in fact, there's a portion of it that you can basically translate in, anything, or you can also put things in a different language, and it will sort out what's being said.
Are you looking for
the link in the chat there so we can check it out? I just put the Claude AI link in the chat.
Oh, sure will.
Yeah, Moshe.
No, I was going to say, Patrick, are you looking for it in Gaelic?
Not yet. Not yet. No, but I mean, it's the difficulty with language is to put it in the context, and that's where.
Yeah, the nuances. Correct. The
Yeah.
nuances of the language is probably what you're referring to, Patrick. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
You should, if you're utilizing platforms like LinkedIn correctly, you should be not just posting your content, but getting engaged and commenting on others. And so it's really a great tool to just take the topic, that was shared, the post, and then feed it into AI and say, give me a thoughtful or a funny or a complimentary response to this post, and then put what platform it's in, because then it'll utilize the and you can also tell it, give me the SEO, give me the searchable phrases, and it'll generate those for you. Or you want, emojis, include emojis that are appropriate for this platform. So if it's for LinkedIn, then it's going to find the things that are popular with LinkedIn. If it's on YouTube, it's going to find the things that are popular with that platform. Even to the point of, I wasn't getting very much traction. Like I get tons of traction on my content on one platform, of all places, TikTok, which is funny, right? But it wasn't translating over to YouTube, and so I asked AI to create the YouTube title that would, get more traction. And that's been a big uptick in views now, because AI is generating the searchable words and phrases to put in, because you only have so many keystrokes. You only have like 100 item or
Keywords.
letters or whatever that you put in the
Characters, 100
title.
characters.
Characters, yeah. But then you can do a full description below. But what's catching the attention is that 100 characters that you have to work with. Other comments or uses?
Nope. But may I go back to what Michael was saying earlier? If I understood you correctly, and I'm dense, so maybe I didn't. If I wanted to see an interview a week later of one that you did with Breck, I would be able to do so if I'm a subscriber in some form, to be able to go back and see these interviews at a later date, even if I can't watch them live. Did I get that correct?
Yeah. In fact, I will be posting, with Breck's permission, this meeting on our calendar of calendars. So that will be the home base for interviews. You can put so much, because you can put links to Google Docs and to PDFs and all. You can really load. We've got a particular calendar called Ad Event that we really like, and it's very rich. So we will have a way to go back and review them, and for you to share them and to grow the meeting at the same time. What we really want to do is maximize our performances. So we are both sharing, helping each other, getting referrals, but also growing the group to keep the group going. And you want to network with peak performers, the Pareto principle, 80-20 rule, So that's why you really want to network with people that can afford to hire you, affluent people. And affluent people do tend to be peak performers. And then they tend to move to areas where a lot of other peak performers are successful, wealthy areas. So we actually want to target the top 50 wealthiest communities in America with our individual speed networking events, so that we can attract more affluence, to democratize affluence. That's what we really want to do. So if you're all that can help your nonprofit, what a great way to democratize money and monetization. So we've got a very big plan. The only thing we are limited with AI is our imaginations. AI, is, to me, our imaginations, our human imaginations, are a gift from God. And I believe that God gave us our imaginations to create AI. We created AI with our imaginations. And now it's up to us to use AI to help God's other creations, each other, and help the world, help the earth, help the planet, and really help each other. Outside of networking, I knew a young lady going through a divorce, and I recommended, because it was very bitter, and I recommended that she use Claude, as Breck mentioned, and it takes all of the bitterness out of your communications. It finds a balanced way of being effective, but really for your best interest. So you're not just, putting all the heat out there, but you're really in a very balanced way communicating with people. And another person was the social director of a dinner club. And she had to deal with all these crazy people, who want this and that and the other thing in the club. And so she just used AI. And the national director of this club said, "Oh my goodness, we want you to move up in management of the group. Your communications are so brilliant, and you don't even have to credit AI. You can take all the credit for your own genius." So, go ahead, Moshe.
One interval, if they're going to be longer than, let's say, 30 or 45-minute period, much like the news, the major news, do they then say go to the site and you can have do you use that other model as well?
Okay, a couple of things on that. One, we have short attention span theater time. It's theater of the mind. So they should be as short as they can, but not less than is ideal for delivering your message. The other thing I do 2 interviews. I go, okay, Moshe, and this is like a speed interview to help Claude create your hero's journey. So I want to know where you started, where you grew up, where you went to school, who was the most important coach or teacher in your life, how you decided to go to college, where you decided to go, why you chose that, what happened, who was most influential. And then I put all of that into my AI. My AI has been programmed in a proprietary way with every interview I've done with Oprah Winfrey, Tony Robbins, Bob Proctor. I call it the magnum opus of AI because it is just the best of the best. And I have programmed all of that into my AI. And then I ask my AI to create your hero's journey. Patrick grew up there, but he struggled. And then he met this teacher and blah, blah, blah. And he had this physical problem and he set him back. But then he overcame it, and now he's really helping people. And that's where his passion is. That's where his heart is. And that's why you should listen to this interview with Patrick.
But you're forgetting one thing. Patrick met Mike. But listen, you're so correct there, because every animal on the planet, including trees, they want to reach their full potential, grow big, get better, keep moving.
Thank you, Patrick.
I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm all right.
I like that. I think that's absolutely true. I'm gonna remember that, Patrick. Comfort crisis. We kind of take our game up. We got to get back into the game. That's the fun of life. Being engaged. I love that.
Don't even
I'm
get me
retired.
started.
I'm retired. I'm retired. What do you mean? What does that mean?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't exist for me.
I'm dead.
A friend of mine said, "Well, what are you gonna do? Just work forever?" I said, "No, just till I drop dead."
Yeah.
It's called
And
being
die
financially
healthy. And
independent.
die healthy. Sorry.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you very much. I reached my full potential on the scale. So
Yeah, exactly. I love that statement though, because that's kind of that's the drug company approach, right? Just keep people at a acceptable level of misery. That's all about that serotonin to just keep you at an acceptable level of depression. So, hey, real quick, I wanted to introduce Dan. He's new to the group here, and so Dan, if you want to come off mute and tell everyone what it is that you do and how you can help them.
Sure. Thanks, Breck. So Dan Redmond, I'm based in San Diego, and I'm a small business advisor with Insperity. And I am a recovering business operator myself that sailed into some rough waters. And now I take a lot of the lessons learned and understanding of, core business principles and help small businesses increase the likelihood that they can succeed 5-10 years and beyond. Do that through a comprehensive suite of people-related services, solutions, and cost containment strategies.
Yeah, one of your biggest being helping with health insurance with corporations as well, right?
Yeah, medical benefits, anything compensation related, 401k, workers' comp, all that stuff is certainly a part of it. Some of the other aspects of it are like maintaining good company culture, figuring out how to properly onboard in many different places at one time, how difficult compliance related employment issues can be.
Yeah, very good. So appreciate you being here today, and
thank you. Thanks for having
welcome
me
you back for every Thursday at the same hour. Welcome to be here and join with us. But grateful that everyone could come today, and we're running a little bit short on time, so we won't do any breakouts today. But I wanted to thank Mike again for his presentation, and excited about the projects that we're working on. It's he's expanded upon one idea that I kind of brought to the table, and he's expanded it tenfold and the directions that he's going, and we'll still incorporate the interview of these retired athletes that have played at the highest level, and when they were in the leagues, they had a whole team around them, not just a team on the court, but they had trainers and they had nutritionists and they had they even had pharmacy when they're on the team, if they needed a medication. And now what does that team look like now that they're retired? And so there's some fun things that we're putting together to help them make sure that they still have their wellness team around them, and not to replace whoever they may have in place today, but just to be an added value, and maybe fill in some of the gaps where they may have gaps. So been talking briefly with Armand about that, and he's an expert at men's health, and so there's some great things that he provides that we'd like to incorporate in and talk to some of these retired athletes for. So, but yeah, appreciate everyone being here. Damar?
Yeah. What about in that same vein, for that same population, what about financial support? Because that's one area that you read that some retired players are struggling financially when they get out, 5 years out, 10 years out.
Yeah, we have you and I have talked about that from the pharmacy standpoint, right? But haven't really looked at what that would look like taking it to the retired players. We've really been focusing just on health and wellness. But yeah, really great idea.
Yeah.
The way it's been explained to me is many of the players can, unfortunately, continue to live the 75 to 7 years after retirement. They were in bankruptcy because of they did not change, and because many of them had what they call hangers on, who were people they grew up with, who protected them, and they continue to pay them the way they did before, buy the items for them they did before. That's what gets them into trouble financially. I think there's better, as I understand it from one of my sources, there's better movement with that now than there was before, long way, as opposed to their financial planners who would tell them not to spend and they would just go and do something differently. I'm hoping that becomes the reality, and Mr. Lewis's observation becomes a thing of the past.
Yeah, now we hopefully are making right. I funny story on the opposite side of that was a gentleman that I used to work with had a guest house. It was actually a theater room that had an apartment over the top of it. So he was a producer of those big the Cinemax style movies. I can't remember, 70 millimeters, something like that, really big screen pictures. So he had this big theater room, and when a new quarterback came on to play for the San Francisco 49ers, and hadn't come from money and was now getting these paychecks, Keith went out to check on him, and he looks on the dresser to see if he needs anything. Hey, how you need anything? How's everything going? He sees a stack of checks on the top of his dresser from the 49ers. He didn't even have a bank account to deposit them into. So Keith had to help him set up a bank account to deposit all those checks. And that was the young Steve Young back in the day when he first got drafted by the 49ers. Didn't even have a bank account. So Keith Merrill.
Well, he got drafted by the USFL first, and then that's when all that stuff started happening with the merger of or not merger, but I guess the NFL saying, hey, this is getting too competitive or whatever. So
yeah, he must have a way of cashing the checks back then. But
I'm shocked because he's the grandson of Brigham Young, as in Brigham Young University. So not to have a bank account or not to know much about bank accounts to me is a stunning
Yeah, you don't teach that in school, right? You know, get back to our lesson from last week.
They are in New Jersey. There's 5 credit hours of money management that's required. In fact, I know about this because I'm working in a program separately for those who are not going to go to college but go into the trades to cover what they're not covering in school. So that's why I'm learning about it now. So I can tell you, in New Jersey, they have that. I don't know about the other states, but I just got the list last night about some of the information that's required in the schools.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Well, thank you for everybody for being here. Thanks again, Mike, and look forward to seeing everyone next week. Who's on the for next week? I might have closed it out already, but I know we have a presenter next week, and look forward to seeing you all then.
It's not Tim Young.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks.
everybody.
Don't
Take care.
forget, join us January 2nd.
Yep. Sounds
We'll reach
good.
out.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.